Hi, it's Lucy here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm pretty sure you're going to fall in love with at least one of the cards I'm creating today because I'm using this gorgeous new collection from Uniquely Creative. And here's a quick look at all the new goodies for February. And these products are available now, but some items tend to sell out quickly. So if you see something you love, be sure to check the links in the video description. Not only will you get your hands on some beautiful new crafting goodies, but using those links also helps support my channel with a small commission to me at no extra cost to you. And you can purchase different sized kit bundles and just the paper packs or pick individual items. And the papers also come in a 6x6 paper pack. And if you're a Uniquely Creative fan, you'll be thrilled to know that their ephemera, also called creative cards, now comes with no white borders. They're perfectly cut to the image, so if you're not a fan of fussy cutting or white edges around your ephemera, you are going to love this new update. I do, even though I love fussy cutting. I love how versatile this kit is as well. I'll be making a mix of feminine birthday cards, little girls' birthday cards, a couple of congratulations cards for any occasion, and more. I'm even using some leftover scraps to decorate the insides of a few cards, and they turn out beautifully. There's no wastage. And this is a slimline fold-out album, and one of the sheets in the paper pack is designed specifically to coordinate with it. And just look at these vellum stickers. They're going to be a big focus in my cards today, and you'll see why in just a moment. So let's dive into the cards I created for my design team assignment. Uniquely Creative also has a monthly magazine packed with stunning design team creations using the kit, including scrapbooking layouts too. So there's plenty of inspiration to enjoy in those magazines. And this card came together so quickly thanks to the adorable fairies and animals that were ready to use with no fussy cutting. And the tree is a vellum sticker. I also created a box card using a die that makes assembling these shaped cards super easy. They're so fun to make. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing a step-by-step video on how to create one. I'd love to share the process with you. And then my favorite card came together in just minutes, and so I thought I would share how I created it with you all. And so I'm going to make some similar cards. This was just using the vellum flowers and then a sentiment in the middle and some rhinestones, but I think it's turned out really beautiful, and so do these next ones. I also have some other quick and easy designs as well using this same kit, so let's get started. First, I have a piece of white cardstock that's slightly larger than the rectangle die, which is the same size as my card base. And I'll be adding flowers around the edges, and I'm not overthinking the placement. These florals are so beautiful, you really can't go wrong. And to remove the sticker from the backing, I find the easiest way is to gently roll a wider section to get it started. And once you have a good grip, you can simply pull the rest off smoothly. And at this early stage, you can still carefully peel the stickers back up if you need to adjust them. But once they've had time to fully adhere, say by the next day, they'll be more permanent and may pull up some of the cardstock if removed. And that's actually a good thing because it means they'll stay put. And you can also cut the pieces up if you don't want to use the whole lot. I've just cut a leaf design here because I only want half of it to be showing. I can use the other half on the right hand side of another card or even this card. And you can use any card base size for this design and any of the designs I create today. And if you prefer, you can stick the stickers directly onto the card front. I personally like to add an extra cardstock layer for a more polished professional finish. And don't worry if you don't have dies, you don't need them for any of these designs today. I'm only using basic rectangle dies to make it easier, though I do have one with a fancier edge. But if you don't use dies, a simple cut version will work just almost as well for that one. And now back to this card. I'm adding a couple of beautiful butterflies, and seriously, aren't these vellum stickers just stunning? I'm completely in love, but I know you've heard that from me before. I just can't help it. I love craft supplies so much. A few scattered rhinestones almost complete this simple yet beautiful card, but I think I'll add a small piece of a leftover vellum sticker to fill in a blank corner. No need for it to go to waste. In fact, I've been using quite a few leftover pieces throughout today's projects. And wasn't this card so easy to create? Anyone can make these. You don't need to be a long-time crafter to get beautiful results. And these were using basically the same type of design, but they've come out completely different. So let's get started on another one. And this piece of white cardstock has a small split in it, so I'm using a slightly smaller rectangle die, and this will leave a nice white border on my card anyway, and it looks just as lovely. I'll add flowers around the edges again, and just look at those hanging florals at the top. Aren't they beautiful? For the bottom, I'll play around with a few flowers until I'm happy with the composition before sticking them down. I also have a half flower left over from a previous card, and it's perfect for the right hand side. I originally placed it a little too high, so I'll gently peel it back up and lower it for a better balance. And a little tip when layering, always place the stickers that should appear further back or underneath first before adding the top layers. I sometimes like to check the composition by placing my rectangle die over the design before sticking everything down. This helps me see exactly where to add the flowers for the best balance, and it's an especially useful trick if you're new to using stickers on cards. It makes placement so much easier. And speaking of stickers, there are a few different types, and I love using them all in my card making, and each one has its own unique look and feel. Washi stickers, they're made of washi paper, which gives them a soft, slightly transparent matte finish, and they blend beautifully into really light coloured backgrounds. They're also easy to reposition if you need to adjust placement. And PET stickers are made from clear glossy plastic, and that makes them much more transparent than washi stickers. The designs really stand out, and they do look really stunning without white borders, although they can have a glossy border to them. They're also supposed to be water resistant and have a slightly slick feel. And then these vellum stickers, they have a soft semi-transparent look similar to vellum paper. They're more delicate looking than PET stickers, and they give a dreamy layered effect without being fully see-through, and they work beautifully for elegant and subtle designs like this. Each type of sticker has its own charm, and I love using them often in my projects. I'm trimming off the overhanging pieces so I can use them elsewhere in a moment, and then I'll die cut this cardstock piece, and I'm not showing the die cutting process today since I often feature my machines in other videos. And now I'm using the cut off vellum pieces to decorate the inside of the card. I sometimes get asked about how I finish the insides, and this is my favourite way to use up scraps, especially leftover sticker pieces. I just noticed that the bottom of this scrap has a straight edge, which means it'll look best when placed along another straight edge, so I'll simply move it down to make sure it blends in nicely. Another great way to use up scraps inside the card is by adding leftover paper that complements the card front, and you can use them as strips or even tear pieces for a more textured look. I'll have to remember to share these ideas in a future video because they're such simple but effective ways to add that extra touch inside the card and to use up your leftovers. I'm adding a bit of scrap white cardstock underneath my sentiments to give them a slight lift off the card. You might have noticed earlier that I trimmed the sentiment down too to better fit my design. You don't always have to use sentiments exactly as they come, and feel free to adjust them to suit your card and make them work for your layout. I only have 2 rhinestones left, so I'll place them close together. Normally I prefer using odd numbers since they tend to look more balanced, but I think I can get away with it on this card since there are also 2 sentiment pieces. It helps everything feel cohesive. I absolutely love this 2 die set from Uniquely Creative, and I've had it for a while now. It's not new, but it is still available, and I'll be using it on 3 of today's cards, but I have to admit I totally messed up this first attempt. I'm leaving it in the video because we all make mistakes, and it's always good to see how we can fix them. I got a little too excited and forgot to die cut the rectangle first before adding my floral cluster with foam tape, and that definitely wasn't going to fit through my die cutting machine. It took me a minute to figure out a fix, but I decided to cut around the outline of the die in sections, first two sides, then the other two, and I slightly adjusted the placement of the die so my piece would end up close to the original die cut size. I could have gone with any size usually, but since I'm using the matching scalloped rectangle die, I needed to keep it within a specific size range, so this was a crisis averted in the end. I'll double check if I need to make any more adjustments to the rectangle's size before using my corner punch to round the edges, just like the die would have done. And this just goes to show that using the die would have been a lot quicker and more polished, especially since it also adds a stitched border. But if you're on a budget or don't have the exact products, you can still achieve a similar look with a few extra steps. I've added my lilac check paper onto a piece of white cardstock before attaching it to the card front. This gives it a little extra height and a more polished look. I'll also add a piece of white scrap cardstock before attaching the rectangle to the scalloped rectangle. This creates a little extra dimension between the two layers, making the design stand out even more. And now I just need to add the scalloped rectangle to the center of the card. For the sentiment, I have a congratulations banner and I'll shape it by creating a few gentle waves to make it look more like a realistic flowing banner. And to keep this shape, I'll only glue the back of the valley sections so the raised parts stay lifted for that dimensional effect. I've added 3 rhinestones to finish this card, and it's another easy design but lovely, I think. Would you agree? My next card is for a little girl who's turning 5 in a couple of weeks. Happy birthday, Macy. I think these flowers are perfect for both young girls and adults, and I'd love to hear if you agree after seeing the final design. And here's a quick tip if you're having trouble removing the backing from vellum stickers, or I should say removing the vellum from the backing, since that's how the stickers actually work. And just work your way around the edges until you find a section that lifts most easily. It's usually the more rounded parts, but sometimes a pointed edge will come away first too. The trick works for any type of sticker, and the key is to stay patient. They really do peel off easily once you find the right spot. I'm going to add one of the sweet little fairies along with a paper butterfly, and I'll position her so it looks like she's reaching out to touch the butterfly amidst the flowers. I'll die cut the piece to fit my card base perfectly, and I haven't added the paper butterfly yet because I didn't want it to get squished while going through the die cutting machine. And instead I'll bend the butterfly's wings gently around my craft knife to create the illusion of movement and it flying. I'll just glue down the body to keep the wings lifted and give it that floating effect. This card is going to be posted, so I'm not creating thick layers, but I think it's lovely just as is, and I'm going to personalize it inside in a moment. I'll add some lovely sentiments from the sentiment sheet I showed at the start and a few pink Nuvo drops to finish the front of the card. I tried adding Macy's name to the front of the card, but I couldn't find the perfect spot for it, so I decided to add it inside the card instead. And we'll take a look at the insides of the cards at the end of the video, as I didn't film the whole process for them, and honestly I think this video is long enough as it is. This next card is super quick to make too. One of you asked me to create something with silver cards, so I've deliberately used it today because I think silver and purple go so beautifully together. I forgot to film the tearing process, but if you cut or die cut a piece of paper to fit your card front, then tear it on a diagonal, you'll get this same effect. I did it on both sides so the pieces aren't aligned, giving it a more organic look, and it gives a bit more of a gap. You can see here that I've used the scalloped rectangle die set again. It's such a lovely die set, isn't it? I'll add a vellum butterfly sticker as well as a paper butterfly. But when I say paper, I actually mean the ephemera, which is made from a nice thick cardstock, not just regular paper. And this means that when you bend them, they'll hold their shape beautifully. I always make sure to glue down only the butterfly body, never the wings, no matter how flat I want my card to be. And then to add a little bit more interest, I'm just going to add some butterfly trails using Nuvo drops for a subtle touch of dimension. This next card is the most similar to my original card, so I thought I'd quickly share it with you. Even though it's still a little different, using the same sentiment in the middle makes them look more alike. I could seriously keep making these all day. Well, actually, I did make all of these in one day. It was so much fun, and I still have so much of that kit, even the vellum cuts, to create with. I'm using some of the scrap half pieces I have left over as well for this card, and these are perfect for adding to the edges of our cards since you only need half of the piece, making it a great way to use up the scraps. I added thin foam tape to parts of the sentiment to really make it stand out with lots of dimension, and I absolutely love the font on this sentiment. It's so pretty. You get 2 of everything in the vellum stickers and ephemera, so I just had to use both of the sentiments. Now on to my final card of the day, and this is another super quick but beautiful design. Here's another useful tip. If you don't have coloured cardstock that matches your papers, check your inks because you may have the perfect colour right there. I'm using my Wilted Violet Distress Oxide ink on the scalloped die cut, and I decided to die cut it first so I could focus on adding the ink exactly where it will be visible, since not much of it will show once I add the rectangle die cut on top. It's a great way to save ink and still get that beautiful colour. And as you just saw, I added one of the floral stickers before die cutting the piece out, and now I'll add some foam adhesive sheet to the back of it. Thanks Judy for this sheet, it's great. I've already added a dotted green paper to my card front, and all the papers I'm using today come from the same Uniquely Creative collection. And then next I'm using this gorgeous dragonfly. I'll bend his wings and glue his body down just like I do with the butterflies. I think he pairs perfectly with my heartfelt wishes sentiment I'll be using. And I'll bend the sentiment banner just like I did previously, making sure to glue down only the valley parts of the banner for some nice dimension. And to finish it off, I'll add some rhinestones for that little extra sparkle. Now let's take a look at the insides of the cards that I created, as well as all the cards from today's video. And I'll be interested to know if you have a favorite card. I love to read that. I'm so happy if you've made it this far through the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or liked any of the cards, as this really helps my channel grow. It's much appreciated. And I hope you've been inspired, and if you have this kit, I hope it's given you some great ideas. And if you'd like to purchase any of the items I've used today, please check out the description box below for all the details, including product and store links. And here's an example of how to open the description box. Just click on the word more. I think I mentioned this earlier, but if you use my links to purchase anything, I'll receive a small commission, so thank you so much for choosing to buy through me. And did you see my last video? I'm giving away a huge $100 US voucher next week. There's still time to enter that if you're watching this over the weekend that it's published. What do you think of these ideas for the insides of cards? Would you like to see me create more designs inside my cards in my videos? I think it really adds a little extra something, do you? For some of the cards, I used my gold and silver pens to rule up borders, and I think that gave a really polished finish too. And if you're interested in the chance to win that $100 voucher I was talking about, click on the upcoming thumbnail at the end of this video, and it will take you to the giveaway video, and it's a shorter video than this one. So that's pretty much it for this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to know when I upload a new video. I have so many new videos in the works for this month, but it's also my birthday month and I love to celebrate, so I hope I managed to create all the videos I want to this month. Have a great day, happy crafting, and bye for now.